Hey guys, Tristamus here from the Polygon forums. I'm going to elaborate on some things talked about in the Frustrated and Jealous Rock Sculpting thread on Polygon. So, I already created a tool here to use. I imported my OBJ. It's a really shitty conglomeration of geometry that I made in Maya to serve as my base for my rock in zBrush here. All I did was make a really simple cube, moved around some vertices, duplicated it, rotated it, blah blah blah, made them intersect each other like this so that I could get some kind of shapes out of it that we could take advantage of in creating a cool looking protruding rock shape, like a rock with a whole bunch of protrusions that we could make look interesting. So first thing I'm going to do is go to Subtool and split the groups so that I get all the 4 separate pieces that I used to make this, and then take off the symmetry on X because I don't want it to be symmetrical, and hit remesh all. Just getting 3 or 4, 4 or 4, and then when it's done it will appear here. But before you do anything, I would recommend you hit project all about 5 or 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and that will just make it so it kind of wraps it as close as it can to your original shape, so your new skin here conforms to it as much as you predicted it would. So now we can get rid of these. We can delete these tools here. And so we are left with this. Now we can do whatever we want. We can, I guess first I'll just explain which brushes will be used the most here. We're going to be using Trim Dynamic is probably the one we're going to use the most. It's one of the newer brushes. It's a great brush. Trim Adaptive can be used if you want to. It's really good if you want to make plateaus in your rock shape, kind of like what Bugo did. I think he used this a lot in making those plateaus on his rock form. Also, hPolish is essential. Maybe Flakes to build form. Move Topological to just modify the shape of the rock itself. And what else are we going to use here? Probably, oh yeah, the damn standard brush to do this. Watch. We will pick an area. I'm not going to finish the whole rock. I'm not going to finish anything, really. I'm just going to illustrate these points. And let's take these protrusions here. You can do a lot with these. That's why I remeshed them, because it's all just one piece of geometry now. It's really cool. First, let's just subdivide it a bunch of times. I wouldn't generally actually do that. If I was working on something for real, I would take my time. We're going to 13 million polys here right away. If I was making a rock, I would definitely be adjusting my shapes first with the Move Topological tool and so on, before I actually divided it 1,000,000 times. It's just easier to work with a low poly and get your shape first before you go up in your polygon count, so that you can establish your forms first. It's just better. But since we've already kind of got our forms that we need, we don't really have to worry about it, and I just want to illustrate some points here in using the tools. So let's start. Okay, so I'm going to use the damn standard, and I'm just going to, whoops, I'm on standard still. I'm going to get that, I'm gonna go to freehand because I don't want it to be stepped strokes. I want to just have a nice smooth. Doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing in nature is perfect. So we're gonna try and emulate that, which is really damn hard. That's kind of why rocks are difficult, I think, sometimes. Nature is difficult to emulate. So we'll also go around this shape here. The computer is a bit slow. Alright, that didn't work out too well. But we'll just continue going around it there. Couldn't really see what it was doing. It's being goofy. Okay. Go around there. Alright. Now I think I'm going to try going to the Trim Dynamic brush, and I'm just going to hit B, T, and D. It's a shortcut to the Trim Dynamic brush. You can also do B, T, A, Trim Adaptive. Trim Adaptive is B, T, A, B, H, hPolish, and so on and so forth. You can learn these on your own. Once you use them so much, it really speeds up your workflow. Instead of having to go here, try and find in this enormous list of brushes, which is just ridiculous, you know. If you know the shortcuts, it's really faster to get stuff going. So I want to get my dynamic brush. So I'm going to go over these edges here because obviously they're just way too uniform and rigid right now, and that's not the way a rock looks, you know. Go over that. Go over this real quick. Let me turn this intensity up. Alright, you gotta go over these edges too here. Alright, well, this is going to be a dirty example, but that's the, you know, who cares? Try and go about this pretty quick here. Alright, so what we can do is let's try the Flakes brush. It's B, F, and L. We'll bring you to that. I'm going to change the alpha from this alpha to a square alpha, and I'm going to go over the areas that I think need more definition, which may be like right here. I'll just go like real general like this and come around a little, go in here a little bit. Back to my Trim Dynamic brush. I'm going to hold an Alt to build it even further, build these forms around the protruding portion of this tool here in this area. And then I'm going to go over it. I'm going to Z-add on it now instead of subbing. And it's gonna just quickly like that. Okay. Go over these areas here. Nothing has to be perfect because it's very organic. Could even, you can go a lot more here, actually. maybe make another little fill here. Smooth that a bit. Trim dynamic. Alternating between Z sub and Z add quite often. Obviously these look a little too different from what's going on over here, so what we're going to do, let's go get that Flakes brush and maybe do the same thing here, here. Switch to the trim dynamic. You know, and then when you retopologize this and get your textures going, you're gonna have so many. There's gonna be a lot of really cool shapes coming out for the viewer to see, and you know, there will be things that are hidden, you know, until they look at it from a certain angle, you know, and then it'll reveal more details. It's kind of I think it's an attractive feature to the human eye when someone's looking at something. If they can't see it all in one perspective, I think that's more interesting. So kind of just, if you see like there's kind of like maybe some stretching going on with the polygons, or if like say, let me see if I can find an area that I have a little bit of a problem with here. Maybe like right here, you can just fill it with the trim dynamic. If you hold in Alt, it does a really good job of you know, getting rid of that problem. So I mean, you can imagine what we could keep going with this. You know, we could keep taking it further and further, and you know, I can actually go back in here again with slash. The slash tool is actually pretty good with if we just do that. It's kind of like doing the same thing as like what we did with the damn standard, you know. I kind of prefer damn standard because it doesn't, there's no excess cutting going on like what right here. I don't like that. It kind of gets in my way with things, and what I'm picturing in my head, it's not really doing a good job. So I usually just use damn standard. Then, you know, we can come in here again, trim dynamic, kind of lightly. The best thing is when you have two big forms like this, maybe like next to each other, and you use you know, we can keep building, and you use this brush, and maybe, you know, you build them so that they come next to each other like this. I'm going to see if I can do it here. I want to try and take this rock, it's getting a little too round here, but I'm going to take, you know, if you have to do it, you can just move topological. Let's make this big here and kind of get these guys. Come on, stupid computer. Come on. Alright, obviously it's going to give me a problem if I'm trying to use the move topological tool. So we got to go down a few levels of resolution. Ugh, that looks gross. Maybe we should smooth those a little bit just for the sake of looking like not so much like crap. And get these forms closer to each other. because that's really going to create some really cool create a cool look. I'm just focusing on this side of the rock because I'm not going to take the time to do all of it right now, of course, in this tutorial. So let's go back up and see. Ugh, that didn't work out very well. So let's take the trim dynamic and try and get rid of that there. Yeah, trim dynamic is pretty nice. I mean, we're starting to lose some of our form here, but you get the point. That's pretty cool. Whole thing with making it in Maya first and then bringing it in here and then remeshing and stuff is just so you can get these kind of cool I mean, you can do that with Z-spheres too or whatever, but I'm just more familiar with Maya, so I chose to bring them in, remesh, reproject, or just project all, and it did it for me. And then you can go into all the other functions, as in getting the alphas on there that look like rock and so on and so forth. Maybe you could take the hPolish brush, and here we go. Here's a nice rock alpha, and see what we can do here with this. It's not strong enough. You can use the hPolish brush in tandem with an alpha, and it can be pretty interesting here. I mean, you could actually just use the surface tool here, but and model with that on, so you can preview what it'll look like. But whatever, it's up to you. Now, I obviously haven't defined my shapes well enough yet, but I'm not a pro at making rocks yet, so I just wanted to make a tutorial to show the whole remesh. The advantages of just bringing in a model from Maya and then remesh, project, get going right away. You know, you can come up with some cool stuff. I mean, that's a little too much there, you know, I'd probably bring that down. But let's try the clip brushes now, and I can illustrate what that's all about. So, let's say we want to let's take this, it's too square here, so let's take a chunk out from here. Now, you want the gradient to be facing away from the rest of the rock, or it's going to cut everything. Just, you'll see, watch, I'll show you. Alright, Alt twice makes it so that's a sharp cut right there. Alt once makes it a curve. So, I'm going to try this. Let go, let it work. take a second, especially if you are at 13 million polys, which is a little bit much for this. I shouldn't have did that much. Alright. And then what I would do from here is get my trim dynamic brush again and just go over all of these things here. You can get a lot of interesting shapes. There you go, you can take that, you know, as far as you want. And I'm alternating between Z-sub and Z-add all the time with trim dynamic because I find it's useful for getting the shapes and build up that I want from my rock here. Alright, well I guess that's it. I mean, I could just sit here sculpting this for hours, but kind of just wanted to illustrate using those tools together and the whole remesh and projectile thing. Okay, I'm sure Google is going to make a way better tutorial than this, and this will be put to shame. Thanks, see you later.